Hello, welcome to Gabie's Knit Goodies. I have lots to show you. I've finished an object and I've made a good amount of progress on some other whips as well. So lots of fun knitting to show you. But first I want to talk a little bit about a shop update real quick. If you don't care about the hand-dyed yarn that I sell on Etsy, then skip ahead just a little bit for all of the knitting goodies. Alright, so this summer I have not been able to dye as much yarn as I always plan on doing in the summer. I have lofty ideas about doing an advent calendar of yarn minis and things like that. And the summer just goes by way too fast and is way too busy. I guess 3 kids, 2 of which are teenagers. It's busy. But yesterday I was able to dye some Dark and Stormy, which I will show a few pictures of me or of it in the dye pots here. I still have to wash it today and let it dry, but by the time this goes out it should be in the shop. But because I've done the Dark and Stormy, I'll at least have one set of the Coast to Coast wrap kit available to put up in the shop as well. That has 6 skeins, 5 different colorways in there. That's really pretty. But anyways, I did some inventorying of my yarn and put it up. You can't see quite all of it, but here's some of it, and I just wanted to show it off and show you guys some of what is in my shop. I have some sock sets like this one that is daffodils, and I also have some boucle yarn, which is the loopy, super squishy 100% merino. This is also boucle. This is what I made my daughter's hoodie out of. The traveler hoodie. I modified it a little bit because this is let's see, around a DK or so weight worsted yarn, and I think that pattern calls for a sport weight, but it worked out really well. I do have some mohair in the shop. This one, if it's not up yet, it will be up soon. I have, well, you can see it, but it's teddy bear is what I'm calling this one. And it has almost like a plum purple undertone in places, and then it's brown, of course. And I have the silver mist. I don't know if you can see it up here, but I have some pink cotton candy and some other colorways up there. This one I am making my tie-side tank out of, and it is peaches and cream. It's a fingering weight yarn. I have some DK caramel macchiato in the shop, and this is one of the ones that's in that kit that I put together. Something that's kind of excuse me, newer to the shop is this lovely purpley color here, boysenberry. That's what I'm calling it, and it goes really well with my Monet water lilies, which I dyed up in DK weight. So I've had this, which I don't think I currently have any left. I think they're sold out. But I've dyed this up in fingering weight and then a mini of the purple. And somebody requested that I do them up in DK. So I have done that. And I think they do look nice together and make a really pretty sweater or cowl or scarf, shawl together. I love the Monet water lilies with the purple and blues and greens and even little yellows in there. Let's see. Ooh. That one's not going back up. Another DK one that I really like is Dahlia's, flower inspired. And it is a purpley pink with speckles of deeper purple and hot pink, a little bit of red and blue. And neutrals, I have coffee with cream. I have a handful of colors that are based on warm, cozy drinks that I like. So anyways, there's a fun one. It is a funfetti, and it is brightly colored, and I'm actually knitting a sock out of this right now. So lots of good stuff, and I have some at the top that I can't really reach and bring down right now. But I just wanted to give you a little taste of what is currently in the shop. And if you see something here and it's not currently in the shop, just message me, and I will either dye it for you if it's sold out, or list it if it's for some reason not listed. And I really hope to get back in the dye studio and dye more. I did just dye not too long ago a bunch of Van Gogh Starry Night because that one sold out, but that is back up now and it's relisted, updated, renewed, whatever you call it. Anyways, I don't think I've mentioned it before, although I may have put it on the screen. You can find the Etsy shop at Gabie's Knit Goodies. You can find me on Instagram at Gabie's Knit Goodies. That's where I post my works in progress, things like that. And then at GKG Yarn, I post yarn pictures, really yarn pictures only on there, of different colorways and things like that. So, welcome. Let's talk knitting. Well, I'll do finished object. This is the Summer Shirt by Jessie Maed Designs. Jessie Maed Designs. Anyways, this I have an entire video on that I just put out a week or so ago. And so if you're interested in all of the details and the good and the bad of how this went for me, then I will put that link. Maybe I'll try to put a little card up here, but I'll definitely put that link down below, as well as the link to the patterns will be down below. This yarn is speckled denim, and it is a fingering weight Italian Cupro cotton, and I do have some in the shop. My lighting's a little weird right here, but it's a nice comfy place for me to do the podcast. So fingering weight t-shirt, knit bottom up, and I chose the folded hem and color and little folded hem sleeve. It fits great, actually, surprisingly. If you've been watching, I had some struggling with this, but I do explain all that in the finished object video. Don't want to rehash that here and bore you guys. Alright, so another project that has gotten actually a good bit of love from me lately, but then kind of had to be set aside, and I'll talk about that, sadly, here in a minute. But this is, it's come along a lot, and I think last time I talked to you guys about this, I explained some drama and mistakes that I was having with it. But this is the Ingrid sweater by, I think, Gregoria Fibers. Put it right here. And it is the Ingrid summer sweater, knit out of cotton yarn. This is a DK Pima cotton. I don't know if it's focusing on this or not because of the lighting, but it is a sky blue confetti sky. So it's a blue tonal with specks of red and dark blue and a little bit of brown, a little bit of yellow in there. So it kind of has an overall blue feel, but with little speckles. Love the yarn, love the pattern so far, and I've actually am on the sleeve. So if you were here last time I talked about this, which was a few weeks ago, I had made a huge mistake. And it's a super immature mistake too, I feel like. I had taken the length for like, so you knit the back from the top down, yes, and then the front from the top down, and then you join it in the round under the arm. And there is a length given for how much you knit until you join it in the round. I read the length multiple times. I referenced the pattern multiple times. And it said like 15. And so I went 15 inches. It was supposed to be 15 centimeters, which is like, 6 or 7 inches, something like that. So, huge mistake. And so I was like, I don't know what to do. And I think I was on vacation when I realized it. Actually, I was visiting family. And so I just went with it. And so I joined all the way down here. And then did the finishing hem in the round. In retrospect, it probably would have been better just to do the whole thing straight and then join the sides. But I was missing, because of the way the directions were, I was also missing like 14 stitches under the arm. So, I did figure out how to fix this, and I think it's okay. I mean, it's not quite as good as if I had been correct in following my pattern and not been so silly, but I think it totally worked out. And it's under the arm. I don't think you're going to even realize it. I mean, I will know. And if you looked closely, you would know. But I don't think it's that obvious. So you tell me. Is it too obvious? It doesn't really matter because I'm not doing anything else. It actually looks a little bit lighter in this panel. So what I did was I ended up knitting a separate panel that I think I did like 15 stitches wide maybe. I think I was missing 14 stitches, but I knew I would have to attach it. Yeah, so I did 15, 16 stitches, something like that. And I made, so the pattern has a nice little place where you're increasing to then meet under the arm. So you have like a V under the arm to make it fit nicer when you pick up stitches and all. And so I created a little bit of that here in my rectangle, and then I just went back and forth and did the pattern and did it as long as I needed to. And then down here I had to make it fit that V that I did make, just way too low. And so it's not too bad. I think it works all right. And like I said, it's under the arm. So this is one side. And this one I've already started picking up for the sleeves. Here. And you can kind of see that space there. The biggest issue I had with this is that you have like a stitch or two of just stockinette at the edge of your knitting. And I guess it kind of makes it for cleaner when you're picking up for your sleeve. And I carried that all the way down, but I wanted it to kind of, those eyelet and purl bump rows to go a little more seamlessly across. So I ended up having to pick up, or to attach it, like a stitch in farther than I would have if I didn't have that extra stockinette edge right there. I don't need to explain all this to you guys since none of y'all are going to make that mistake like I did. Y'all will be much smarter than me. But if you ever do, it's not the end of the world. You don't have to rip back the entire sweater. You can modify it if you're not that picky. So, yeah. The one thing that will be nice is that I feel like I will consider this sweater a little less precious, so I won't hesitate to wear it at any point in time. Like, it doesn't have to be a, hand knit, precious garment, because it already has a mistake. It takes the preciousness out of it. Anyways, I am happily on the sleeve. However, I did end up setting this down. The reason being, I was very sad about it. I started getting some pain, actually up in like my neck and shoulder, and I determined it was probably due to my knitting. And I think it was because I'm knitting, this is a 100% Pima cotton yarn. It's very soft and lovely, but it does cause cotton, linen, those type of yarns don't have the elasticity that wool has, and so it does cause a little more strain on your muscles. And it's not something I even noticed at all until like I would go to sleep and I'd wake up with it having a problem, and for a long time I didn't pinpoint what it was, but I'm almost positive it was knitting, specifically knitting on a cotton garment, and I was doing a lot of it. At one point in time I was knitting on this for long stretches of time. So I've kind of put this aside for a little bit, very, very sadly. I'm hoping that I can knit little bits on it. I've gotten back into knitting on my wool projects, and that's going okay, but I haven't picked this one back up yet. But I really want it finished because I think it'll be perfect for the fall. Because it's cotton, so it's not hot, but it's long sleeve and cozy at the same time, so it would be a nice transition piece. So I think soon I'll be able to start knitting on it. I just need to make sure I don't overdo it, like, just knit on it brief periods of time. Anyways, just as a forewarning, if you're using a non-stretchy yarn, take breaks, maybe rotate your projects out a little bit with things that are more elastic. It's my suggestion anyways. I did go through and talk about the ergonomics of knitting in one of my videos. I think it's the Ghost Horses sweater video. One of the things I also realized is when I was knitting a lot on that, I probably was slouching, and supposedly that especially puts strain on like these muscles back here when you're doing a lot of slouching as opposed to sitting up and having good posture. So, something to think about. Fruity Knitting also did a good session on ergonomic knitting one time, a while ago. So, next item on today's agenda is Inside Out. But it is the Tie Side Tank by Eleanor Alice Knits. And this was the thing that I kind of tossed to the side when I started doing the Ingrid summer sweater. But I picked it back up. I think last time I had already finished the front and was working on the back. I've made a little bit more progress on the back, but it's still not quite tall enough yet. Let's see if I can show this. I am knitting this out of the Peaches and Cream colorway. And it is a 75-25 merino nylon. Soft and squishy and lovely, and a very has elasticity in there. And I'm getting close to this being done because like the edging is done as you go. It has the lovely cross here join on the side, as well as under the arm. It kind of does the same little crossover section, which I really like. And once I finish the back, I think I join at the shoulders, and I'll have to pick up stitches for the neck, and then I'm supposed to do some little strappy things and attach them here on the that split so it can tie on the side, hence the name. I think it's the 05 tie side tank. Now I'm enjoying this. It is very small needles on fringing weight yarn. I am using 1.5 US, which is a 2.5 millimeter needle, and it is an all over pattern that's like a maybe a 5-row repeat, something like that. So eventually you do learn it, and you can kind of read your knitting and figure out what you need to do for each row. But sometimes I make a mistake and then I have to rip back a few stitches to fix it and do the correct pattern. But I like the texture and look of the finished pattern. In the beginning, you do have to pay attention. Like back here, I totally messed up, and it's in the back, and most people can't tell, but I can. So I'm working on that one, slowly. I think that when this is done, I could probably use it as almost like a vest in the winter time, and I think that might look cute. Or like over dresses to add a little warmth, especially because I went with wool as opposed to cotton. I think the sample was made in cotton. But cotton at a 1.5 US needle in a whole garment would be a lot. I think that would strain me. I think that would be more than I would like to do. Like this is a fingering weight one, the So Summer shirt, but I forget the needle size, but it's a pretty big needle size, so the fabric is a looser gauge, and I think that made it so it's easier in my hands because there's no don't really have to force anything because it's so loose. Yeah. I have a sock, and then I have a sweater I recently brought out of hibernation that I'm excited about all over again, even though I've been knitting on it for I don't know, a year plus? It's pretty insane, isn't it? I'm about to lose my stitches in it. Oopsies. Alright, so this is just my little sock. I've shown you guys this one before. I have not made a lot of progress, but just a little bit. I finished my gusset, and I'm moving along on the foot section here, and I've just made them as little shorty socks out of the confetti or funfetti colorway, and this is 60 stitches on US 2 needles, and I did a 2x2 rib the top and heel flap and gusset. So they're coming along, and I'm knitting them on 9-inch Chalgu circulars. I actually at a yarn store got a little set of interchangeable ones, and the only difference is that it has a short little top and a slightly longer one. And in retrospect, I don't know how much I will use the longer ones, because the short ones definitely work best for sock knitting. And now for the one I brought out of hibernation that it looks like I'm about to lose my stitches on. Luckily it has mohair in it, and so stitches don't fall out very easy. This is sweater number 20 again. If you have been around for a while watching and following along in my knitting journey here, then you have seen this sweater before, and it is slowly growing. It's beautiful, and I have to say I am excited about it all over again, especially because I just finished the other night one of the sleeves. So now all I have to do is pick up and knit this sleeve and then do the collar. But what made me really excited about it recently is that when I finished the sleeve, I tried it on and I really like it. And I changed the ending of the sleeve. This is by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And she has these very wide, beautiful sleeves that look very cool. But knowing from another one that I did of hers, I think it was sweater number 21 actually, that the wide, long sleeve is just not very practical for me. I decided to modify it a little bit. And so I did some reduction. Like when I block this will be wider here, so it'll be a little bit balloonish, I guess, in my sleeve. But as soon as I finished the cabled part, and it was as long as I wanted it to be, I reduced, I can't say exactly how much I reduced. It was almost by half. Yeah, it was almost by half. Or it might have been a full half and maybe a little bit more. Somewhere thereabouts. The reason I'm not exactly sure is because I tried to keep it flowing from the cables into the ribbing. I ended up, because of that, I ended up doing a 2x1 ribbing. The bottom is a 2x2, but I ended up doing a 2x1. And the reason is because, like, when between some of these cables there's like 2 purls, and so I reduced those down to 1, and then instead of reducing this little cable, which is a 1x1 cable, I just left it as 2. But then, like, over here I had 4 stitches in this cable and 4 stitches in this little one, and one purl stitch in between. And so I just reduced these two to 2 stitches each, and so it could be a 2x1. So I just kind of tried to reduce it basically by half, but trying to let the cables flow into the ribbing. So it looked very intentional, I guess. So I really like it. And when I tried it on, it looks good, but it also will be wearable for me. It'll be very warm though. It is a DK weight. Let's see, this is a fingering weight, but it's a DK weight, and I think it's White Swan, merino, nylon, and then held with one of the my cloud mohair. Kid silk mohair. Gonna need to wind up another DK weight one, because that one's almost gone. And then held with the cloud. So it gives a beautiful, nice and fuzzy. So it's fuzzy, but it doesn't like ruin the stitch definition. It could possibly muddle it more if it was a darker color. You may not be able to see all the cables quite as clearly maybe if it was a darker color. And certainly if you had like a variegated or something, you wouldn't be able to see them all. But for this sweater, I really like the idea of having white because I think it would go well in my wardrobe and just be very practical for me. But it also shows off all of these cables that I've worked so hard on for so very, very long. If I can, I will look up when I began this project and let you know how long it's been on the needles. Quite a long time. But I am making progress, though it be slow. And I'm happy about it again. So, maybe, I think I said this last fall, that my goal was to get it done this year so that I could actually wear it, like, before Christmas. Before it gets cold. That's my goal again. Yeah. Sweater number 20. Back again. And looking good. Alright, that is all I have to show you guys for now. I hope you guys are getting lots of crafting time and enjoying the season that you are in. I am excited because school is starting and the fall is coming, and it is my favorite season. Primarily fall, not necessarily school, but school's not bad either. So, yeah, I homeschool my kids, so it provides structure. We have a co-op we go to and I teach there, and I get to teach sewing and handicrafts and a knit and crochet class. And so, though there's plenty of prep work involved in all of that, it's also really fun to like spread the love of fiber arts to a younger generation. That's yeah, my goal is just to create lots of fiber artists everywhere, at least all around me. I have a number of adults in my knitting class too, so it makes me so happy. So, talk to you later. The aftermath of the podcast. Not too bad today. And here's some of my yarn that you probably couldn't see as well. This is some of my cotton ones. That's what I'm making Ingrid sweater, and that's what I'm making, or I made the Sew Summer shirt out of. This is one of my favorites. It's not cotton, it is wool, but it is flowers and dirt. And then some of my kid mohair and silk up here. This is a gorgeous color. I have a sweater that has that as like the main color, or it is that color all over. I just held it with coffee and cream. Yeah. These are all my yarn babies. Lots of yarn babies. Well, lots for me. Maybe not lots for a large dyer, but for me, I primarily dye what I love and what I want to knit with, and then I dye extra for the shop. If there's anything you ever need or want, though, you can always contact me.